when I was about 10 years old, 9.5, 10, I went to a ballet class twice a week. It was a simple ballet class. There was no real extra focus on technique, the way you would study it in a ballet school anywhere else in the world. And for me, it was just something that I went to and I fell in love with right at the beginning, because it was 2 days where I could really enjoy dance. But it's not like I enjoyed the form or ever saw myself taking it at a professional level later. So, but I did that for about 8 years, and then when I finished graduation, when I finished university, I saw a work of Padmini's for the second time. The first time was when I was still in school, when I was finishing school. And when I finished university, I saw a work of Padmini's called Fragility. It was at a festival, and then I wrote to her after watching 3 solos, and I said, could I work with you? But what I knew of the company then was that she primarily worked with classical dancers, and I didn't have an Indian classical training. That wasn't my background at all. And so, yeah, that's how it started. So in 2003, towards the end of 2003 is when I started working with Padmini as an apprentice, and then continued from there. I think what I do and what I looked for was something that was from here, but tested the idea of what is from here. The idea of Indianness, the idea of a certain identity in dance. From here, being from here, working out of this context, understanding it at a very deep level without having to prove it by adding a mudra here or a abhinaya there. I think for the past couple of years I've been trying to articulate what this framework is, that we always see contemporary in relation to a traditional or a classical. And I think a large part of the problem is in the framing of that. This is contemporary and it's Western. It has all these, this is contemporary, it's Western, there's no link to tradition, there's no link to nationality, there's no link to an Indian identity. And I think that framework itself is kind of redundant now. It may have been important about 50 years ago, when the Indian identity was being formed according to its now classical forms, but I don't think 50 years after a strong tradition of contemporary dance in India, we can anymore ask that same question. Does it have a connection to the classical? Although I see a lot of dancers making their departure into contemporary from a classical, like a graceful leap from one side to the other. But I don't have that experience as a person living in this country who doesn't come from that classical world. So how long are we going to keep asking this question of, and I mean in this country, we still ask that question, what is contemporary? But Chandra has been working here since the 80s. We have an obsession with how old something is, how ancient it is, and that's supposed to be of more value than any other thought. And I think we can't. It's this obsession with preferably old things, the predictable newness of preferably old things. Which means even if you want to see something new, you look for the old reference in it. And that's the only area an artist has to play with then. I have to constantly refer to something that you recognize. I think it's a long time now that we still look at any artwork coming out of India as only Indian in reference to what is classical or in reference to a Western idea of what is Indian. But ask the Indian who's living in 2017, who's taken in all that is Indian, who's taken in all that is classical, and chosen to do other things. I teach at 2 places. I do two kinds of teaching. One is to little children at a school, and it's a simpler class. and it came after long years of teaching dancers and then wanting to not teach dancers. Because I used to teach at Padmini's company for the dancers who used to come there, just as a training over there. So I teach children, and I teach Tamil actors at a Tamil theatre company. So I teach them twice a week, and I do just movement principles, things that they can use in performance, just an understanding of their bodies and time, and how to use the space. From a non-theatre background. So I go there twice a week, and these are the two teaching practices that I have currently. As far as taking classes go, that is learning or working with other choreographers. In Chennai, I work with Padmini, and I've done small projects with Preeti, and then there are choreographers who come in on collaborative projects, and they sometimes ask for dancers, and then I participate. I also work with other dancers who I've worked with over the years, and just other people in the city. We meet once a week, just to share practice, to ask questions, what are we doing, just at Mira's, the other Mira that I was telling you about, at her terrace. And so this is how we sort of try to build some kind of community where there's some kind of sharing about what we're doing, because it's small. To be honest, it comes to me in different ways. So the two works, I'll talk about the two works that I've actually made, maybe that makes sense. The two solos that I made, one started while I was still in school in London, and it came out of an experience of going to a portrait gallery, and the second was another experience of actually having an assignment to do, which was to make self-portraits. And what I found interesting, other than what was being made, how people chose to make it, either two-dimensional or make a sculpture or paint it in some other way, is that the experience of actually showing it. So we would have to place all the self-portraits. You walk into a room and you have all the self-portraits on the ground, and I was watching people walk through looking at these, and some of them were portraits that you just had to look at. You just, it was a painting, it was fair enough, you knew what you had to look at. Some of them required you to bend down, pick up, shake it, listen to a sound, but very few people did that. And it's kind of what I feel about when we go to watch a performance. You don't really engage as much as perhaps we ought to. You don't bend down, you don't, in effect, go beyond a certain comfort. And so Restricted View came out of those, and the title actually came out of the cheap seats that they call Restricted View seats, where you don't have the best view, but you have to sort of, stand or look,
You know how we call it in France? The paradise.
Oh, is that what it's called? The paradise? Oh, it's up there, yeah. So it came out of experience, but it also came out of ideas about how we see performance. And so I can't really say it was any one thing. And then applying it to movement was another stage. So I had, with To Be Danced, which was the last solo that I made, it actually came out of the teaching practice that I had with children, and to look at why was I dancing, and if I am to dance now, am I going to use codes that already exist, or am I going to try and find vocabulary? So this is, for me, what the solo can really make you ask of yourself, and this is what I started with. What are these new, how am I going to think about the body differently? And how am I, what is my connection to moving and needing to make dance in this city, which has so many references you don't know where to start. Now I support myself primarily through the teaching. So I teach, the money goes back into making work. And yeah, I should try and apply to residencies, which I have. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But the way I look at residency systems, and there are only two you can apply to in this country. One used to be Gati, but now with the focus on the school, I don't know if they anymore have the residency. And then there's Atakalari, which I already did for the last solo. The thing with the residency, the way I approach the residency in India or anywhere, is to actually take the work when it's sort of halfway already in my mind and I've worked on it, so that I can complete it. But it's, you have to time, you don't know how to time these things. Sometimes you have the idea and you can take it to the residency, sometimes you miss the residency date, so you still want to make the work, so you just make the work. When you're working here, all your technical aspects, if you wanted light, or if you wanted a certain kind of sound, and with this last work I needed video. If I had a larger budget, I would have done a better video. It's as simple as, it's almost as straightforward as that. But the work I do, it doesn't have to be done, so it's designed according to where I want it to be. If I need, restricted view had to be performed in a sort of semi-proscenium kind of setting. That was the point of the piece, because it was restricted view. It had to be performed there. To be dance could be performed anywhere. And so now I carry my own projector, I carry my own sound, so if I wanted to, I could perform it anywhere. And that's been the sort of shift that's happening in how I look at work, and I think a lot of people are doing that as well. But the thing is, there are two aspects to that. When you think of composition and you want to see a work fulfilled in a certain way, and then where you're compromising. And those become quite clear choices that you have to think about. I did it in collaboration with a Brazilian dancer and a South African dancer, one of whom was with me in a residency in Vienna a couple of years before. And this was right after I finished studying at Laban, and someone wrote to me and said, are you interested in doing a project like this? It is, the framework is a political collaboration. It comes under BRICS, which is Brazil, South Africa, India. And so that was in Johannesburg, and we met and worked for about a month and a half or 2 months. And it was a process, it was a real cultural collaboration framework, and then we threw out a lot of questions about what that could mean, because when you go to make a work within this politically diplomatic format, what does it mean to question your nationality, and what is an export from your country? How does dance become an export, or like a product, you can say. So I don't know if the organizers were very happy with what we did, because we asked a lot of difficult questions. It wasn't going to be an easy collaboration where, okay, a little bit of Brazil, a little bit of South Africa, a little bit of India comes. But we asked these other questions. What does it really mean? And what can we do realistically in a month and a half or 2 months? You can go up to a certain point, and then you have to find places that you are all interested in, even if you don't agree, you have to find those sort of, those points. I'd like to think people are more aware of the politics of collaboration. I am, and that came because I worked with someone like Padmini, who taught me to question. Who taught me to question not just, the making of a work, but what else goes into the making of a work. All the relationships you have with these politics, with your identity, what happens, how does it travel, to constantly question, basically. The other, in India, with my work, I've only done Chennai and Bangalore. With Padmini's work, of course, everywhere in India, not in Cal, but other cities here and abroad in mostly Europe and Seoul in South Korea. But primarily Europe and Singapore, Seoul. To any student anywhere, it's not just someone in France. Really go deep into what you're doing. Go deep into why someone else is doing what what they're doing within dance and really find out what questions they're asking. Rather than just see a completed work or try to make an opinion going by opinions that already exist, really try to mark out the questions. What is going on in this creator's mind or in this practitioner's mind? What are the questions they're asking? Not the answers, not the outcome.
Thank you, Anat.